Greetings, my fellow inhabitants of the planet Earth. I hope you're all doing well and taking care of each other during this pandemic. The barber shops have closed down, so not even during 1968. Summer of Love was my hair this long. Kinda scary. Anyway, the other day I went into a jewelry store at the Stanford Shopping Center, and the sales lady there said, "I have just the item for a young man of high society and fashion, such as yourself." And I kind of look around to see who she's talking to. And turns out she was talking to me. She said that what she had was the first Omega in space, which was made as a tribute to the one Wally Schirra took in space in 1962. I've been a Wally Schirra fan all my life, ever since I was a little boy. So I told her, I'll take it. I don't even need to look at it. Just wrap it up and swipe my credit card. Here is the watch, and we're going to unbox it in just a moment. But before I do that, I want to give you a little history of, maybe space collecting 50 years ago. This right here was the first mission patch ever actually designed by astronauts and then carried in the spacecraft with them and actually sewn onto their flight suits and their spacesuits. And it was Gemini 8, flown by Gordon Cooper and Pete Conrad, two of my favorite astronauts. And this was the first NASA official mission patch, a very cool thing. And then that set the tradition in that all the other astronauts from that point forward all created and wore their own mission patches. So way back when in the day, boys such as myself collected these things, and they were sold wherever fine baseball bubblegum cards were sold. But there was a problem. There were 6 Mercury flights and 2 Gemini flights that had no patches at all because the astronauts for those flights simply didn't design them. NASA simply didn't approve them. So for kids such as myself who wanted the full collection, they wanted to start with Alan Shepard here, there was nothing that we could really do. The people that make the patches came up with a solution to this problem. They simply designed their own patches. So all these 7 or 8 patches that you see right here, they weren't designed by the astronauts. They weren't approved by NASA. They were, they're bogus because they were just designed by the bubblegum card people to sell to boys such as myself. The first wristwatch ever carried into space was Scott Carpenter in Aurora 7, and he had a Breitling Navitimer similar to the one that I have on right now, although not quite the same. And a few years back, Breitling came out with a tribute to that watch, and it was really weird because they put this mission patch on the reverse side of the watch. And it was kind of a crazy thing, really, because, this patch was never on the flight, and it's fake. It was simply designed by the bubblegum card, baseball card people. Anyway, here's the box, and let's start opening up. Wally Schirra was a special astronaut. He was the only guy to fly all 3 series, Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo. Many other astronauts, such as Deke Slayton and Gordon Cooper, many others were involved with all 3 series, but he was the only one to fly on all 3 different series. Nice looking box. Take the lid off. Set that aside. We have the big old instruction manual on how to operate your watch, written in, 12 or 13 different languages. We have the 5-year warranty card. We have the other papers. Let's just set that all aside for the moment. Got a nice looking black wooden box with the Omega symbol on the top. There we go. Let's open it up. And what it says there is first Omega in space. That is October 3rd, 1962, the date of Wally Schirra's first Mercury flight. And it's a shame because that's just 1 day shy of the 5-year anniversary of Sputnik, the official date at the beginning of the space age. So I think it would have been kind of cool if they had delayed the flight just 1 day so it could have fallen on the 5-year anniversary of Sputnik exactly. This weird looking item right there is a water horse, a mythical creature, and it's called a hippocampus. And I always thought that was very funny because during my 4 years of working at the Stanford University School of Medicine, I'd hear a lot about the hippocampus. And what they were referring to was a region of the human brain. It turns out that the region of the human brain called the hippocampus was named after this critter because people think that the hippocampus in your brain looks like a seahorse. I don't know. Does that thing there look like anything in your brain? Well, I don't think so. Okay, we have Omega Speedmaster. That says numbered edition. And oh, look at this. That is, I don't know if you can see it, that is the Sigma 7 Wally Schirra patch, which I just told you was fake. So, okay, it's not a big deal, and I shouldn't make an issue out of it, but they put a mission patch there, which was designed by a company that made bubblegum cards to market to 10-year-old boys. Let's move on, though, to the actual watch itself. Oh, looks really nice. Let me just get the box out of the way so we can concentrate on this. I guess I'll just put it right over there. Now, as to the watch, it has, well, for you watch fanatics, the Omega 1861 Motion, caliber 1861 Motion, which has been the workhorse of the Speedmaster for the last 50 years. It's interesting because the Speedmaster is a watch with a 42 millimeter diameter. This is just under 40 millimeters. So it seems remarkably small and unclunky, kind of elegant compared to the classic Speedmaster. And I think it has just a beautiful look. Oh yeah, there's activated the chronograph, so you see the sweep second hand going around. And it is just absolutely beautifully executed. The actual Wally Schirra watch from 1962 would have had the caliber 321 movement. If Omega had put that in, which was recently recreated, the watch price would probably be about 3 times its current price. This sold for, well, just in the neighborhood of $5,000. And watches with the 321 movement go for about $15,000. So I'm absolutely fine with the 1861 movement, which is a great movement, and also has a wonderful history with Omega, as opposed to spending an extra $10,000 for a 321 movement that you're not going to see anyway because it doesn't have a see-through case back. Just from the way the light, I see the light refracted from the crystal, I can tell that is an anti-reflection coated synthetic sapphire. Watch crystals were not made out of synthetic sapphire in the early 60s and late 50s. So that is not period authentic. The Wally Schirra watch had, the crystal was made out of something called hesselite. And hesselite is just a fancy word for plexiglass. And plexiglass is just basically a fancy word for plastic. So it had a plastic crystal, but there was an advantage in that. If you have a watch with a sapphire crystal like this, or a glass crystal, and you do break it by smashing it against something, it'll create little shards of glass, and you don't want that in the zero-G spacecraft where it could float around, get in your eyes, you could inhale it, or it could foul the equipment. So hesselite in a spacecraft was absolutely preferable because if you broke the crystal, you wouldn't have a lot of shards of glass floating around. It would simply crack. Now, oh yeah, for some of the serious Omega collectors nowadays, they still prefer the watches with the hesselite crystal, and that's absolutely fine. You know, that's fine for them. It might get scratched up a lot easier, but they consider it battle scars, nothing to be concerned about. The winding, everything else is just buttery smooth. I don't think the photographs are going to show just quite how beautiful this thing is. As a smaller watch, I think it would do well on either the wrist of a man or woman, professional pilot or a scientist, and I'd been both of those, man or woman. It would go well as just a working watch, a tool watch, or also as a dress watch as well. It really looks nice. It has the alpha hands as opposed to the baton hands on the later Speedmaster, so it's not nearly as legible, particularly not in dim light situations. But I think the alpha hands, oh, I'm holding it upside down compared to you. Well, there is no up or down in space. I think the alpha hands look a great deal more attractive, just more stylish. So I like that look. And I like the fact that you could use this as a dress watch. Let's turn it over And what I'm going to do now, for the first and only time, is I am going to remove the sticker on the back. I understand that if you go into a jeweler nowadays and buy a Rolex and ask to walk out with the sticker still on, they won't let you because they're afraid that you're going to sell it as a new watch. There's First Omega in space. There is the date again of Wally Schirra's flight, October 3rd, 1962. And that strange-looking critter is the hippocampus. Maybe they should replace that with a brain, because that would be the hippocampus as well. But it looks really nice. It's a numbered edition, so this is something in the 1300s, and it just recently went out of production. So I think you can still buy it at dealerships in the United States, but in Europe and Asia, apparently they've ran out of stock, and there isn't going to be any more. But I think that the back, the workmanship, just looks lovely. I would have maybe preferred a see-through back so you can see the workings of the watch from the inside. But even so, that looks just stunning. So the question comes up, if you're into like luxury watches, and this particular watch had no connection to Wally Schirra, would it still be worth it, just on its own merits, just as a really nice luxury watch? For $5,000, I would say yes. There's a lot of watches that you can buy for that same price range that don't have the connection to the space program, which I feel aren't as nice as this. So I'm very, very happy with the purchase. Now, what am I going to do with it? Well, I think what I'd like to do is put it in storage, keep it in mint-like condition, and then at some point give it away as a gift. So for the past, present, future members of the San Anselmo 6th grade astronomy club, whichever one of you gets into space first, I'll give you this watch. So I'm just going to keep it in trust, put it in storage, not get it scratched up or dirty or anything like that. And when you return from your space flight, call me up, come and see me. I'll know you as a past member of the 6th grade astronomy club, and you can claim this watch as your gift for being the first club member to get into space and back down again. How does that sound? No, not bad. I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you're a space person involved with interested in spaceflight history, and if you're a watch person as well, I hope you enjoyed this, because it's a remarkable thing. If you're a watch person, there's a lot of really cool wristwatch spaceflight history to delve into. And if it's something that interests you, leave a message, say it does, and we can do more space watch videos in the future. It is a very rich field.